Kelly from the Sunshine Stampin' Co. and Cards by Christine, and I am here with you this morning to do our last kit class of February 2026. It is the best ever kit, so stay tuned because it's the best ever. Just kidding. And we've got a nice, simple one, beautiful cards for our beginners or for Mother's, Father's Day, moms and dads, kind of fun things. And I am here to share with you that today. Sorry, I'm not sick, but I'm sick, and the brain is just full of clouds, and unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm just waiting out till the end of winter in hopes that all that has ailed me this year will leave with the snow. So thank you so much for joining me. I am so happy that you are here to check out this kit, and we are going to dive right into the action. So we have an all-inclusive kit in the manner that you don't need anything besides what's in the kit. There's no stamping, there's no adhesives that you need beyond what comes with the kit, so it's really great for our beginner crafters, or for someone who, kits like these are really great for traveling, like if you want to take a project with you but don't want to have to pack a whole bunch of supplies. I know I like doing that because I like continuing to craft and create when I'm going somewhere, but it's overwhelming to think about everything that you could need, and with our kits, it's so simple just to take what you need, grab a box, and go. All right, so today's cards, we've got 6 different cards, and they are all different, but they have 3 similar designs. So we will be making 2 each of 3 different designs, although they are all different. If that doesn't make sense, it should make more sense when we get into the making. All right, so let's start figuring out what we've got going. Contains supplies for 6 cards and 6 envelopes. We have Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, Melon Mambo, Pool Party, Pretty Peacock, and Shaded Spruce. And a special shout out and hello to our friend Susan Bellamy, who is joining us from Florida. Thank you for joining us. Now, because this is not a stamping one, everything is pre-printed, which means that everything is coming in 3 different languages. So we really only need a third of the kit, a third of the printed parts of the kit. So in this bag we have our embellishments, which are some gold stars and sequins. We have some glue dots and dimensionals. So we'll get those unboxed. Then we have envelopes. We have 3 pink and 3 blue. Okay, so then here we have all of these are not my language, so we'll set that off to the side. For the number 1 mom, for the number 1 dad, and then we have for the number 1 mum. So I'm going to take mom and dad. Lots of options. Then we have 2 trophies. So we'll get those out. Beautiful gold foiling. I'm caught. All right, so we'll grab those extra pieces out of there. So the trophy card is the third card. And that is not the same. Okay, so I'm going to start making my piles. All right, then we have number 1. Little foam finger action. The pennants. I think I just said penance, which is, you know, being sorry for our sins. All right, this goes over here. We have our pink number 1. With our pink pennants. All right, I'm cheering for you, greatest of all time. Trying to figure out. I'm assuming this goes here, although both of the sample cards say greatest of all time. So I'm a little uncertain. And then these pieces, okay, this smaller coral piece goes with the trophies. I'm not quite sure where that dark piece goes. I think they go there. We'll find out. Okay, then we have some ribbon pieces. The ribbon pieces go on the first card. Okay, lots of pieces. The Starburst cards go with the trophies. All right, not entirely sure where the white piece goes. Guess I'm not also entirely sure about these 2 pieces, so we'll pull them back. This pink piece, Melon Mambo, goes on the trophy, and then this is another ribbon piece. Okay, you're the best, and hooray, you did it. I wonder if some of these things are inside pieces, or if they're just other options for sentiments. We'll find out. I'm just taking everything that's English or neutral. Okay, so here is greatest of all time. So I'm thinking these are all just different options. Because I think I already have a I'm cheering for you. All right, happy Mother's Day and happy Father's Day. Those go over here. And then we have World's Best Dad, World's Best Mom, and World's Best Mum. So we'll get Dad. And the Mom. Okay. These pieces go with the ribbons. And these pieces go with the trophies. Okay, one more ribbon piece. And then the starbursts go with the foam fingers. These are extremely satisfying to punch out. Wow, I like that. Okay. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, and there was one more sheet of circles, and none of them pertain to the language I speak, so we're gonna move that on. I'm gonna take a quick pause for a drink break. You don't want to have to be coughing in your ear all the time. Okay. So, just inside the instructions, we have the lay flat of what can go where. Huh. I think I missed one piece here. If I need to go back and find that, I will. All right, so we're starting with the trophy card. Let's pull the others off to the side. And then now we'll divide these into two separate piles. So we will start by burnishing our card bases. The lighter one is for Mom. And the darker one is for Dad. So the trophies are the same. Okay. The stars go on Dad, the flowers go on Mom. Then we can just divide these pieces out. All right, so we have dimensionals behind the trophy, dimensionals behind the banner, and dimensionals behind the top of the flowers. So lots of dimensionals. Okay. Behind the banner. And then we've got two on the top. Now, I personally don't like using glue dots, so I will just wait and use liquid glue on that. Good morning, Linda. Thank you so much for joining. My nails have been breaking, which is abnormal for me. So I've got another one that broke, and I just need, I'm struggling to figure out why that's happening. All right, so we can center the trophy. Then we can layer the banner on top. Banner goes about right through the middle. Okay, that's what I was afraid of. I put my dimensionals a little bit like kind of equidistant. They put theirs more towards the middle. So I've got one kind of hanging out the side. So I'm going to sneak another dimensional in from the side to support that. As soon as I saw how this was going to lay out, I was like, oh no, I think I didn't place that very well. Going to do the same thing on that side. Okay, then we can put our flowers in the top of the cup. Ew, that looks a little crooked. Okay, and then the intention is for these leaves to not just be flapping around, so we can put a little bit of glue behind some of them. I don't know how absolutely necessary it is, but I know I'm not going to be using glue dots, so if there's going to be any adhesive on there, it's going to be liquid glue. Okay. Then we are going to adhere the sentiment to the rectangle. Happy Mother's Day. And then that gets placed on the bottom of the card using dimensionals. All right. And last but certainly not least, we have our embellishments. So we're going to put one up here and two down here. We're using the circles, or just the traditional sequins here. And according to the picture, I think mine is up just a little bit. I can tell there's more on the bottom and a little bit less on top. So you can bear that in mind. Obviously, this is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but you could lay yours a little bit farther down when you start. I guess the most absolute way to do that would be to start by placing down your Happy Mother's Day so you know exactly where it goes. I eyeballed it with the first piece, which was the trophy, and I thought I had centered it pretty well. Actually, according to this picture, I probably did place it because I was trying to match where the starburst lines met with the stem of the trophy, which looks pretty on there, but So yeah, I would bring this down just a little bit. It is absolutely not the end of the world though. I'm gonna go add a little bit of Stella. This is not a good Stella. I've done this multiple times. That Stella has blue in it. So add some Stella to the flower petals. Which I think just adds some very nice little details. And there you have it. That's card number 1. I love it. The gold is so beautiful. Look at that. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Now we can make the Father's Day card. So, exact same steps here. I do believe I am going to try to place this piece down first and see if that goes any better. Okay. So, dimensionals behind all. Again, we are going to move the dimensionals behind the banner in more. Okay, so we'll start from the bottom up this time. Happy Father's Day, centered about, I'd say, 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. Then I'll bring in the trophy. The trophy then just sits centered on top. Okay. Then we can put the stars in. Again, I'm not going to be using our glue dots. They do show 2 glue dots where the 2 little stars hang down onto the trophy. I'm not even gonna mess with liquid glue there. It's such a small adhesion point. I don't personally believe that that's necessary, but that is your own personal preference. Hello, Mary Novak. Thank you so much for joining. All right, then we have the banner on, and now again we are finishing with some embellishments. This time we have gold stars. So there you go. There's our Father's Day trophy card. Of course, you can add Stella to this as well. I don't believe Stella is feminine versus masculine, but I am usually less likely to use Stella on a man's card, so I'm going to skip it. Look at them! Those are so cool. All right, pull them off to the side. Next up, we have our foam finger card and a water break. Okay. So we have all of our pieces. We're going to go ahead and burnish the card base. And then sort out all the pieces. So we've got the foam fingers with the yellow starbursts versus the blue starbursts. Okay, so then we have greatest of all time. Or I'm cheering for you, and greatest of all time, or I'm cheering for you. I think I left that other one. Gotta see if I'm missing it. Now, I don't see that it necessarily, quote unquote, there's more English for ya. I think this is a one or the other. Thank you so much for joining, Connie. It is okay. All we've done so far is our 2 trophy cards. And now we are on to our second set of cards, which are our foam finger cards. Also, I know I usually just jump right into the action. I don't spend as much time just talking in the beginning, especially when I'm not feeling well. So I want to save my voice. I think this morning I was okay, but the 2 mornings prior to that, I woke up with no voice. My son, my youngest son, usually comes into bed in the morning and snuggles with me after he wakes up, but before we get up. And he said, "Mommy, what's wrong with your voice?" Well, I don't have one. So I'm in preservation mode right now. So sorry I don't have the giddy, bubbly energy that most of the times I do. I'm praying that I can get past what is ailing me and get back to life, because I don't like this feeling. Okay. So I'm cheering for you and greatest of all time. Okay, so this is greatest of all time goes on this white one. Then I'm cheering for you would go on this blue one, and the I'm cheering for you in the women's style of the card would go on this little pool party piece. So from what I'm gathering here, you can choose whichever sentiment you want. Now, if you wanted, you could do I'm cheering for you on the outside and greatest of all time on the inside, or vice versa, to use all of the pieces. But what I'm gathering is you've got options for what you want on the outside. What you do with the other pieces is, in fact, completely up to you. Now, we are adhering down the large starburst. Again, I'm not going to use the glue dots. Instead, I will be using liquid glue. So we're just going to place the 3 starbursts. We've got the largest one in the upper right, the medium one in the bottom right, and these are just decorative, so I don't think they have an exact right place to go. I also am not going to worry about, I don't want to take the effort to get glue on all of the starburst pieces, I'm just going to use adhesive in the middle and call it a day. Greatest of all time. So then what we have here is we'll glue these together. And then we can flip it over and put dimensionals on the back. I have the pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside. I feel like they don't mean the same thing, but I think they can both work. And it's obvious that they are designed to complement the whole foam finger type of mentality. So, all right, on the back of the foam finger, we've got 5 dimensionals. And then we have 3 on the back of greatest of all time, which is going to look like I think it's going to look like 2. I'm a little bit disagreeing here. I think this is going to look like 2 on that side, which when flipped over is the right side, and 1 on the left side. But we will see. I have been wrong before. I love the color scheme here. Actually, I love the color scheme of all of these cards. This is obviously very masculine, and the exact same with a different color scheme over there makes it quite feminine. I love it. Okay, so we're going to have our foam finger at quite a diagonal. And then greatest of all time is going to go in the bottom right-hand corner and correct. So my dimensional placement was spot on. So then we've got it supported over here where there's a lot of ticket to be raised, and then just down here because this top corner on from the front, the right-hand side, is being held up by the foam finger. So there you go. Then I'm just going to open it up, and I am going to glue the "I'm cheering for you." All right, then we've got 3 stars. Uh-oh. Okay, so we will put 1 down here. 1 up here. Oh, no. Kind of wiggle them when they come off so that the adhesive comes with them. You bring it to your card without adhesive and it's not going to stick. And then up here. Beautiful. Greatest of all time. Oh, so that, I was going to move that down except for the glue dot stuck, so it's going to stay. So, on to the feminine version. Start with liquid glue. Nice muted color scheme. Oh, interesting. Thought there was a dimensional back, behind here, but it's just some torn paper. So we'll just trim that off. And then same, we are going to be placing down the starbursts. Upper right, lower right, and kind of mid-left. All right, then we can flip these over, add our dimensionals. I am functioning just with the dimensionals that came in the kit. Otherwise, I would be adding several additional dimensionals on for my own peace of mind. Now, I did kind of go into not paying attention mode. I think this dimensional should be a little lower, and those two should be just fine. All right, and again, we've got our finger going at a diagonal. And oh my goodness. Okay, so I tried to pay attention and then I accidentally had it upside down. That is not helpful. So that is fine. Move that over there. Move that down there. All right, that's better. Oh my goodness. Okay, so pay attention to where you're putting it because you do not want to cover up the number 1. Okay, so I think I'm going to Stella the petal pink banners. If you like this idea, it is strongly advisable to do it before the things are stuck on, because obviously it's a lot easier when you have less roadblocks. Although I do understand it's not an exact science, there's no perfect way it has to be done. And we will end with our embellishments, which for the girl cards are just the sequins. And again, I will put "I'm cheering for you" on the inside. Cute. So here you have, let's see here. It's always so hard to show off Stella. Do like in the masculine card how the sentiment's not quite so on the bottom, but that was facilitated through how I placed down the foam finger, because obviously I was trying to put it up higher and I was covering up the number 1. So that was placed out of necessity. All right, card number 3. And another water brook. All right, so we have for the number one mom and for the number one dad, or you can do you're the best and hooray, you did it. I would say if you are using these sentiments, the cards could be pretty neutral, either feminine or masculine. But obviously if you do for the number one mom and for the number one dad, that's for mom and dad. So girl and boy. All right. Burnish your card bases, and then you can divide out your materials. And we're starting with the mom card. Whoa. Wow, wow, wow. Lots and lots and lots of glue dots, which again, I will not be using. Okay. So, for the number one mom is getting glued or adhered, if you do not want to use glue, to the light pink rosette. And then this piece is getting adhered to the darker coral rosette using dimensionals. All right, then we are going to glue this, the double ribbon piece, the lighter piece, onto the card. Then we will add the one ribbon or the darker red coral-ish piece with dimensionals. And then last but certainly not least, we will be adding the sentiment, and that will be with just our liquid glue. Lots of dimensionals, lots of adhesive. All right, so flip this over and center it. Now, if I understand this correctly, they don't need to align absolutely perfectly. That just helps you figure out where your ribbon placement is, but we're going to be gluing this on, so it doesn't matter if they overlap or aren't exactly on top of each other. Okay, I'm just going to put the glue on that circle, and then we can put the, for the number one mom, on top, except for, let's try, it's really hard to tell if it's centered. That's not straight though. Okay, I think that's straight. And then we have our embellishments. So let's add one up here, one down there, and one in there. That's really pretty. I like that. I love how dimensional it is. Wow, very cool. All right, and then similarly for our dad card. All right, so first we have just our liquid glue to attach it to our light rosette. Then dimensionals. Onto the darker and more decorative rosette. We'll call that good. Then we have liquid glue on double ribbon or the lighter of the ribbons. And dimensionals on the back of the single ribbon, which is the darker ribbons. Although what I was just looking at was how much it has a gradient. I wish it was a little darker instead of so gradiated. But it is what it is. It's very light down here and doesn't differentiate that much. And of course, all of that darkness is getting covered up. So again, align the circles, focusing mainly on the placement of the ribbon. And then we can add some glue. See if we can get that straight. Straight or straight enough. And then we add stars. Go back and get the glue dot. Oh, come on. Now, we're all done, and we have 6 of each embellishment left and just a handful of dimensionals. So as you go through, you can supplement the dimensionals where they have suggestions for placement. Like I had mentioned, there was one spot where I was like, this is not a ton. I'd like for there to be more, but I just didn't know how many dimensionals they included as extras. So you can supplement if you want, and of course you can also add extra embellishments. Knowing that there's 6 extra stars, I would probably add some stars to the quote-unquote girl cards. I really like the star embellishments, and I think they would look nice. But here you have the 6 cards for the best ever kit. Do you have any favorites? I really like this kit. I think these cards are great. Obviously, they make great Mother's Day and Father's Day cards, but also they can be used for other purposes as well. That does it for me today, although I should say that does it for me for this video. I will be hopping on later to record some Palooza cards, one of the installments for the Palooza cards. We do still have Palooza left if there is anyone out there who's been holding out and would still like to participate. The cards are amazing, and were a great time to design. I'm sure it will be a great time to make them as well. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this kit. Let us know if you got the kit or if you're going to get the kit, if you like the kit, if you have any feelings about the kit. We love to know. And we obviously get better from what you give us in terms of feedback. So that's always, always welcome. But in the meantime, sending sunshine, love, big hugs, rainbows, and bright skies your way. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.